There are many words that could be used to describe gaming to a non-gamer: entertaining, engaging, emotional, fun, frenetic, artistic, astonishing. I could take the whole Oxford Dictionary and find 1,000 adjectives that may be used to describe the vast world that is gaming to somebody that has never held a gamepad before. But out of many, there is a simpler word that I do not often hear used to describe video games: beauty. There is beauty within all video games, both mechanically, narratively, and aesthetically. Trying to explain video games to somebody that is not into games is a Herculean task. Where do you even begin? After 15 plus years of gaming, we have seen all types of games that reinterpret and reimagine the ways games are meant to be played, not to mention the infinite genres and subgenres that are present within. Sure, we all know what a video game is, but to describe gaming as one sole thing is a bit more challenging. But as the title of the video suggests, the word that I want to use to describe gaming is beauty, a word we are all familiar with, yet one that has so much more meaning that you may realize. As described at dictionary.com, beauty is the quality present in a thing or person that gives intense pleasure or deep satisfaction to the mind, whether arising from sensory manifestations, a meaningful design, or pattern. What people consider beautiful is of course subjective, and no one can objectively dictate what can and cannot be described with this word. However, there are near universal qualities we as humans appreciate: the warmth of sunlight, the freshness of water, the color patterns flowers make across a chromatic prairie. There is no objective beauty, but there are elements considered by many to be beautiful. The question therefore becomes, is gaming beautiful? The short answer is yes, for many reasons I'll soon discuss. While I repeat that how much something is beautiful is fully subjective, there is inherent beauty in all art forms and expressions, whether these are painting, books, or movies. Video games are products that paint digital worlds, tell the most wonderful of tales, and direct the most cinematic of cutscenes. But what makes video games inherently beautiful, despite their various forms and designs? Despite the big differences between games you see on screen? If I were to break down all video games into 3 core aspects, 3 parts that make virtually all video games, these parts would definitely be gameplay, narration, and graphics. These 3 make up nearly all video games, and I would argue that by themselves and together, these make video games beautiful. What distinguishes gaming from other media such as movies is the word game itself. No matter the game, there are always inputs the player has to insert in order to obtain outputs. There is interaction between the game and the gamer, the controlled and the controller, something not quite experienced in other media. Put simply, that the symbiosis between customer and product is stronger than what you may realize. The ability to be able to control whatever aspect of the game that is possible to control is freedom at its purest form, at its most beautiful form. Whether this control comes from moving your own character in a 3D environment, managing an elaborated civilization in a grand strategy odyssey, or viewing the beauty of the world from the eyes of a digital avatar, all games in some shape or form offer the player a sense of freedom, of escapism. We often might feel trapped in endless parables in our daily lives: a boring school, a repetitive job, a never-ending procrastination where very little is achieved in so much time. We might feel trapped in an autopilot ride, endlessly moving in circles. Video games offer people the chance to take control, to move to whatever direction at whatever pace the players desires. Some journeys are long and require months to complete. Some are intense rushes to pull an all-nighter, but regardless of the journey, it is the player that has the freedom to shape it at its own or her own will. Very few are the realities considered to be beautiful by all. Out of few, I believe freedom is one of them. There is nothing more inspiring and grandiose to be able to achieve a great accomplishment by having the freedom to decide how to reach it. You are not a spectator to a spectacular battle, but you are the knight fighting in the front line. The David versus Goliath myth becomes tangible, playable, and it is the skill a gamer has developed throughout the adventure to make impossible outcomes walk in the park. There are games that offer the player various degrees of freedom, and there are games that are more linear, but all video games give players the freedom on how to approach every situation with the tools they have. There are optimal ways to play video games, especially competitive ones, but most titles offer the player the freedom to play in whatever style they prefer. There is growth in experience, in learning how to thrive in a digital realm filled with challenges. We might forget that games, by definition, are learning tools, ways for us to sharpen our most basic skills. Freedom present in games allow players to fail, to repeat, to learn, to win, a beautiful learning curve that gives satisfaction every time. Pure freedom in real life is idyllic. There are always limitations to what reality has to offer, but in gaming the limit is the sky, the possibilities are endless. There is nothing more beautiful than to take control and move in whatever direction you most please. Each game offers different paths, and each gamer chooses which paths to take. When discussing plots in video games, we might make the mistake of comparing them to movies and books. After all, both in games and in novels, there are protagonists, conflicts, backstories, plot twists, and conclusions. And while yes, many games do emulate stories we find elsewhere, the way narration works and is delivered in gaming is different, intriguing. Reading a tale about a character facing various challenges to reach a determined goal is something, but being that character inherently makes all events narrated feel different. One thing is to hear a description of how a character faces an obstacle in their journey, and one thing is to, well, face that obstacle yourself. It is not that one way is better than the other, it's just different, and as you may guess by now, there is beauty in this different approach of storytelling. I've discussed the difference between plot and storytelling in another video, but the gist of it is that there is a difference between the quality of a plot and the quality of conveying that plot. One thing is the story and one thing is the storytelling. Gaming's core narrative design has to take in consideration that the protagonist of the story is often you, the player, that lives within the game under a different identity. This entails that directly or indirectly, the actions taken by the user are part of the story, part of the canon that is crafted along the way, something novels simply cannot provide. And this can often have stronger effect on the player. The bond between the protagonist and the player is complex, and at times even personal, making some plots that much more heavy and splendid to live. And when I say live plots, I mean it. These past decades, more and more resources are devoted to good storytelling and character development, with games filled with quests that let the player immerse better in the world they feel themselves in. The suspense of disbelief, also known as how much the world feels real, can only be achieved with in-depth exploration and care for details, a care the player is free to undig at their own pace. The tools present in gaming make certain impossible narrations possible, conveyable in an approachable manner. Again, I'm not stating that plots in video games are inherently better than plots in other media, but I am saying that the different perspectives experienced in games can and do enhance certain breathtaking stories by making them as complete and as interesting as possible. There is nothing better than to understand the world by both observing and interacting with it, being there yourself to experience a well-written plot and the wildness of it all. A narrative experience that is both dynamic and structured elegantly behind polygons can only be described as beautiful. Talking about graphics in games in this video may sound a bit risky at first, since debates over what game and game consoles has the best graphical capabilities do not often end up nicely, but rather than to focus on technicalities, I wish to focus more on technical achievements in the gaming world, to showcase the astonishing views and sceneries gaming has offered us over the past decades, always improving year after year. The visual aspect of gaming was always a core part of it, and just like the other two aspects, it also saw great development throughout the years, a development easier to identify even for non-gamers. Color palettes increased exponentially, graphical details got more and more widespread, lights and darkness became even more real, surpassing perhaps reality herself. And being games explorable makes the beautiful worlds portrayed truly traversable, truly admirable from any angle. Both two-dimensional and three-dimensional environments are all sandboxes where players have the freedom to unveil the uncharted. Developers have fun transforming imagination into real horizons, making the surreal real, leaving us in spectacular worlds, all different from each other. And the differences do not only come in the settings, but also in the aesthetics. There are games that aim for hyperrealism, games that go well with their art style, and everything in between. At times it is challenging even describing what style games are even using, if not creating one themselves. Spectacles of games can blow away, both for their realism as well as for their artistic creativity. These great works of art were all made in different time periods with different available technologies. And well, yes, most recent games have quote-unquote better graphics. There is a charm in older titles that has value even after decades have passed. Just like art, older paintings do not become obsolete nor devalued. If anything, they stand as lighthouses in time, always attracting new developers wishing to expand upon older styles rather than to substitute them. The graphics and art directions are the glue that keep together the gameplay and the narration. Elements that true could work on their own, but are boosted thanks to the visual aspect crafted by the developers. I've tried to explain what beauty is in words, but perhaps, just for a few seconds, I will let the images talk for me before jumping to the conclusion. After all, images speak louder than words, especially when it comes to describing beauty. Video games are beautiful. While I spend the entirety of this video describing what makes games so beautiful, deep down I realize that no explanation of mine can truly convey the beauty found in gaming, since beauty is a subjective term. Experiencing games is the best way to understand what makes gaming appealing and extraordinary for so many gamers like myself. In today's video, rather than to catastrophically lose hope in the gaming world due to outrageous market practices like microtransactions, I wanted to look at what makes gaming beautiful in the first place, why I love this form of entertainment above others. Gameplay is beautiful, stories within games are beautiful, the graphics and the art styles are beautiful. In this video, I deliberately did not mention any specific game, not even once, because I felt it was not needed to bring home my thesis. Gaming is much more than products, made up of individual items of entertainment. Video games at their best can be truly life-changing experiences. Gaming, at its core, is beautiful. If you made it this far, I wanted to thank you one too many gaming times for watching today's video. This video was quite something else. Beauty in gaming is a topic I had to approach in a different way than usual, and I hope it worked out at the end and that you enjoyed the video. What games or moments within games do you consider to be beautiful? Let me know down in the comments below. I wish you all a wonderful day, and until next time, arrivederci.